Mr. Lalit Modi, welcome on Figuring Out.
I was hell-bent on going to America. My father would never let me go. So he said, only way you can go to America is if you get a high score at SAT. Minimum 1,500 out of 1,600. Okay, how the hell am I going to get 1,500 out of 1,600? So I hired somebody to go to do my SATs. Okay? Somebody else went and did my SATs. They got 1,550 out of 1,600. Great. Okay?
Somebody else did it for you.
In those days. You could get away with those in those days. Because somebody else, his picture, my name, we created a driving license. It was done. Okay? It's coming at the story of my life. I can't change it. Went to school for me. Got 1,560. I applied to every university. I get you name the university I got in, because I had also done all my mark sheets from class 2 to 12 at 90% or above, with the PO box in Delhi in Delhi and somewhere, it was the Connaught Place or something, Hindustan Times, Connaught Place, PO box number. Okay, I would create my own application. I printed my own certificates, I remember. Okay, so I got to every university. Now that wasn't
So you faked all your applications.
all, without doubt. If you see the movie Back to School, identical. Okay, they probably took a lesson from me on that. Okay? Then again, my father says, you can't go to this university, you can't go to a big town. Our partner was Philip Morris. My father was at a board meeting in Philip Morris in New York. And my son is desperate to go to college in America. Can you get him into a university which doesn't have a nightclub in it? Okay, so they found Duke University in North Carolina, which I hadn't even applied for. But Philip Morris was a big donor in those days to tobacco country. So I ended up going to Duke, North Carolina. I got into, you name it, from Penn down to, you name the university.
Yeah.
But I only applied myself to Malibu and a few of the other Ivy Leagues. I got into all of them based on my mark sheet.
But you also, you threw a big party, you bought drugs and all of that.
I got into all of that. In campus, a lot of people did drugs. I didn't drink, but I tasted drugs and I got into drugs. It wasn't a big thing. It was everybody was doing it. I got into it. We got busted for it, for conspiracy to buy drugs. We never bought it.
Meaning? What is it?
In North Carolina, the crime to even consider to buy it in those days.
Okay, even to think that you want to buy.
Or you want to buy it.
Okay.
So we were going to buy it. We were going for spring break and saying, instead of buying a gram or two, let's just buy a whole lot of it.
Like a half a kg, a kg of it.
Kilogram of coke. Okay? So all the fraternity brothers made us hate a pie. The fraternity got banned from campus after that, after this incident happened. This is the actual story. Everybody has many stories. The actual story is there were three of us who decided, the whole fraternity, a lot of people pooled in money. We're going to Fort Lauderdale. It was a very rich fraternity. A lot of people in the fraternity were rich kids. Parents were very rich and they came from rich background. So they said, instead of buying a gram here, 2 grams there, and buying adulterated stuff, let's just buy it together. And then we are going to spring break. We'll enjoy it all, carve it all out and go. So everybody pooled in, collected 10 grand. So going to buy a key at those days at 10 grand. It was very cheap comparatively, right? Okay? And you buy it in those days at $15 a gram. It was $10 a gram. Not bad. Okay, so everybody pulled it. Okay, we went in. It was the Sheraton Duke Hotel, the Duke Sheraton Hotel, and next on Duke Forest. I remember we drive there. We take a room. Somebody has set it up from another fraternity who said, I know a guy who can supply it. All of a sudden, the door opened, bang, and there's a guy with a mask on his face, with a shotgun in his hand. And he said, give me your money. Okay? We all pissed in our pants, literally. He tied us up, put socks in our mouth, and left us sitting there. And took the money and flipped. So at 6 o'clock, turn down service, the maid comes down, she sees us all tied up. Okay? She frees us, we ran the hell out of there. Take a car and go back to the fraternity. It's a funny thing now. When you look it back, those days it's frightening. We tell all the kids, hey guys, we got robbed. I said, I'm out of this. We got robbed. I don't really care about my share. But to a lot of kids, it was their recreational money for the holidays. They needed it back. Or they needed to make somebody else pay for it. So somebody else who had done it, they pick him up. bring him to the fraternity house, and then beat him up. And that was assault. That's what they said. Not me. I could assault anybody for that sake of being on the skinny little, guy. Assaulted him. And that guy would disappear for 2 days in the fraternity house. He's drinking away beer and everything. He's telling stories. He has told the whole story now. How he got a brother of his in Atlanta to come and rob these rich kids. But his roommate found that this kid has been missing for a day. Informed the campus police. That kid is missing, and I think he must have done this. So it was this fraternity did it.
Oh.
So all of a sudden, the campus police is snooping around. I lived off campus by then. I had a beautiful house with a cook, with a driver, and 8 other fraternity brothers living in the same house with a swimming pool in the Duke Forest. Friday evening, we are all leaving for Fort Lauderdale. Police from all around, helicopters in the air, come around, sweep, and they arrest us all. Okay, and we get charged for conspiracy to buy. Not any drugs, they were conspiracy to buy with an assault and all of whatever they put in. Anyway, when the court thing, it was just, we all were locked up on the Friday night. I was hungry, I needed pizza. So they got me pizza. I remember Dawood was delivered there. Calls were made from around the world. There were a lot of powerful people involved. But by the time it hit the news around the world, rich fraternity kids, India became bigger with me. Mrs. Gandhi was prime minister in those days. George Bush was secretary of state, I remember of those days. There was a whole lot of chaos all over the place. And that is what the incident was. And then they decided I moved to New York.
How did you get out of it?
There was nothing, there was no drugs. So it was conspiracy to buy. We were charged with it, but we were let off with community service in the morning.
Oh, you were not like arrested for like 2 years or like...
Are you mad? It was 24 hours. That's what it was. You were locked up for 24 hours in the county, in the court, not even in the jail, the county lock-up area before it went to a judge in the morning. By the morning, we all pleaded to, yes, we were planning to buy, but we didn't buy. So it's not a what do you call a main crime or something. So you get slapped on the wrist, and that was a slap on the wrist. We had to do a few hours of community service, which we did.
Oh. But the news, like when you read about it online.
Because it was the first charge. That's all they read about it. They don't read the second charge. Like you print the headline, you don't read the retraction or what happened the next day. Okay? You just read the front page, the minute you're charged. But actually, what happened in the end...
This was the story.
That's actually the story.
And the story completes online that Estee Lauder's founder helped you out to get out.
No, nothing to do with Estee Lauder's founder. It was not me. Many people, very, very powerful people, much more powerful than the Modi family people that are involved in the fraternity.
You had an eventful childhood and always surrounded with glamour and so
controversies.
And controversies.
Very controversies.
Still, even till now.
I believe very strongly in when somebody slaps you on one cheek, either you can take it and look the other way, or you can react back. Simple as that. And if you have done nothing wrong, you react back. And so people say, let a politician slap you, just look the other way because he's a politician. Who? Why? Why should he get the free break? Is my view. Simple as that.
True.
Is what I believe.
So you're always enamored by glamour.
I wasn't enamored as part of it. Shah Rukh went to school with me. We were school friends. So when I went to approach him for cricket, he said, Lalit, I have anything about it. I thought, I just want you to be part of it. He was the number one pillar for the IPL. We'll come to that later. But he was the pillar for me, and I'll tell you reasons why later on. But I'm saying, so...
You were
when you talk about Lalit Modi, the movie star, I was in the business. I created entertainment business when there was no entertainment business. Whether Subhash Ghai or Yash Chopra or all of them, they all worked with me. In those days, they were the stars in those days. Look at who was the Subhash Ghai and all the big stars. We all were doing serials with them. I was chairman of the entertainment committee of India for entertainment. When I brought Disney to India, again, it was not a recognized industry of the government of India to allow for direct investment into the entertainment industry. So Disney was the first foreign direct investment that came into India in the entertainment sector.
And that was through you?
That was my joint venture with me. I bought ESPN into India when there was no pay TV in India. It was only free TV available in India. Star TV had come in, which were negotiating with me. Rupert Murdoch sat on the board of Philip Morris. When I went for a board meeting at Philip Morris, as an outsider, sitting outside the board meeting, waiting for my father to come on, who was a special invitee to the board meeting at that time, I met Rupert Murdoch. And he said, I want to enter India. Then I said, why don't we launch a sports channel? So I went to Disney, obviously. They're my partners. They owned something called ESPN. I said, why don't you bring ESPN to India? They said, if you make it a pay channel and get pay money, we will partner with you. I said, if you buy all the cricket, I'll find a way to pay. Murdoch used to put the cricket onto Prime Sports, which turned into Star Sports, without paying for it. He was like Doordarshan. You want to show it on a channel? I'll give you 10 cents on the dollar, and you would take it. There's a guy called Bill Sinrich, who worked for IMG. He was the agent for all the boards. And Indian board was Mark Mascarenhas for Jagmohan Dalmia, who was the money bag for him. Everybody was on the take. So I said to ESPN, I found a way. So I remember clearly, under Rupert Murdoch's nose, we bought all the rights of cricket from every board, except Indian board by that time.
Why?
There was still, contract wasn't done. That they'd been sold to Star for a certain number of years, right? And they were getting kickbacks and we were not paying kickbacks to Jagmohan Dalmia's person, Mark Mascarenhas. India's touring England. We own all England rights. And in the meantime, I've already been running the channel for a year and a half on a free-to-air basis, ESPN. And at that point in time, I'm looking at content, and I know cricket is working for us. And then IPL was born. Of cricket, I got into cricket only because, and only reason because, I made ESPN number one, and it hurt Rupert Murdoch. And Rupert Murdoch decided the only way to get back into India was to merge with ESPN India and take Lalit Modi out. So when he did that, Michael Eisner had already left Disney, my godfather. They decided, Rupert Murdoch convinced them that let's take him out and not pay him for it. So, got into a legal battle. He ran on for years in America. Now, you can't win a battle in America against the top American conglomerate. I spent over $20 million of my money in that legal battle. And then my father said, enough is enough. You're not going to win against them. So I said, no, I'm going to go after him. I said, I can only go after him and do something about it if I own or run something that he wants. And what is that one thing he wants? That money can't buy him. It's cricket. Then when ESPN got taken away, I had said I would like to go after
Murdoch.
Murdoch. But also in the meantime, I had known so much about sports business and what the cricket had done is valuable around the world. And sports has a value and I knew every sport inside out, what the value of every sport was, whether it's World Cup or the English Premier League in the UK. That led to me getting into cricket. And understanding the market, understanding what viewership meant, what it meant to the brands, knew how the brands were hungry for exposure in India. And the only exposure that you get is through cricket, because it's a non-missable event. The more Indian cricket board started to make money, they had no money. We didn't even have an office. We didn't have an office even when they started making money.
So BCCI didn't even have an office?
Not even till the time I joined BCCI. Even till then, even after with ESPN and everybody, but still they were making small money. When I joined the BCCI, it took a long time to join it. BCCI was a cool old boys club, controlled by Jagmohan Dalmia and his cronies in those days.
How did you join then?
It took a long time to get in there. And then I had a good friend, Vasundhara Raje, without doubt, who was a good friend of the family. My family and her family go back a long way. And
that's how you Scindia's connection and all of that.
That is right. And she happened to become Chief Minister of Rajasthan at that point. I said I helped her in whichever small way I could in funding part of her life election campaign. And my take, I need to get onto the Indian Cricket Board. How do you get onto it? I tried first through Punjab. I became vice president with Mr. Vindra. I became a thorn in Mr. Dalmia's. I ganked the first time members of the BCCI, giving them the right value. A lot was skeptical about it. Mr. Bindra, who had seen the world, understood it. And he thought I was right. But he was still the president. I was the vice president. Only the president goes to the BCCI. Vice president doesn't. But that gave me insight into the workings of the BCCI, how close the group was. It was impossible. I became then, nobody knows this, I became member of the Himachal Cricket Association, Goa Cricket Association, Orissa Cricket Association. Okay, many different associations, but could never get to the top because there was still cronies of Dalmia in there. And the voting pattern in all these so-called state associations, that they called, was all tightly controlled by one person and generationally controlled by one person. And still is generationally controlled by one person.
जो president होगा
उसी का भाई भतीजा लड़का बनेगा president.
बस सालों से यही चलेगा.
अभी तक चल रहा है.
Cricket board में पूरे इंडिया में.
पूरे इंडिया में. Only in some places there's a break. So Rajasthan passed the Sports Regulation Act saying nobody has the right in any sport, and it was across all sport, to be generationally running a federation. It must be by the merit of the districts. So private membership is out.
You made it pass?
First it passed through assembly. That is what she helped me do. But it wasn't benefiting me. It was benefiting everybody from every sport. And I didn't have Jaidad. I happened to become then president of one district, which was Nagaur district. But any change in district required BCCI approval. Jagmohan Dalmia was head of BCCI. After he had seen I was battling him, I was openly battling him. Media everywhere. He said, Lalit Modi ko nahi aane dunga. So kya hua? Lalit Kumar became president of Nagaur district. My first name and middle name is Lalit Kumar. Modi ko hटा दिया. Photo मेरी, thumbprint मेरा, Lalit Kumar. Out in passing of all the resolutions for all the cricket associations which is done by the general meeting of BCCI in 2003, it was also passed.
किसी को पता ही नहीं चला.
किसी को पता ही नहीं. ललित कुमार became president of Nagaur Cricket Association.
ललित मोदी बैंड था तो आपने ललित कुमार बन के रजिस्टर करा दिया और किसी को
that is my name. रजिस्टर क्या करा दिया? मेरा ललित कुमार मोदी नाम है. I didn't change my name. I just said Lalit Kumar, omitted my name Modi. Okay, but name was छाप मेरा, फोटो मेरा.
Got it.
कौन देख रहा है फोटो? Hoping nobody will see it. से देखा ही थी. But that was still not over the case. That is, I became a district president in Nagaur. I built academy there. I built a beautiful ground there. I did a lot for the community out there. In the meantime, this is 2003. 2004, Vasundhara became president of chairman of the church, Chief Minister of Rajasthan. It was lucky she became. But I was already enrolled into every association. I had also Baroda. I forgot even Baroda. I was a member. Wherever I could become member of, I became member. Goa, Baroda, Orissa, Himachal.
हर जगह.
Punjab. Where I could become. I was already working towards Delhi. Where there were members voting. I had already cornered. There was 1,900 members. सब चांदनी चौक वगैरह के मेंबरशिप थे. वहाँ पे भी मैंने 600-700 लोगों को through canvassing I had got. I was working on many fronts. So it wasn't I was working only on one front. My objective was to get on the board, right? So you don't put all your eggs in one basket.
कि कहीं से भी chances मिल जाए.
लगाओ आप. Now, Vasundhara passed legislation. Legislation gets challenged in High Court. We win in single bench. We win in double bench. It gets challenged in Supreme Court. We win in Supreme Court. Gets re-challenged in Supreme Court. And a higher Chief Justice. It became a national issue. Many governments joined in. And they said, हमारा क्या होएगा? एक state में हो गया, और state में होएगा. I had a great lawyer, friend of mine, Aruneshwar Gupta, in those days. He's still a very big lawyer. He was the architect. I said, एक strike नहीं चलेगा. Let's go on every state. हर जगह लगाओ application. सबकी application मैंने लगाई.
क्या की प्राइवेट वाली बंद करो.
सबके हाथ लगाओ, सबके उंगली करो सबको.
एप्लीकेशन इसी पे थी ना कि प्राइवेट वोटिंग्स बंद करो. सिर्फ पब्लिक वोटिंग्स होगी.
पब्लिक वोटिंग होगी. पब्लिक वोटिंग कभी भी चेंज हो सकती है. हर जगह एप्लीकेशन लगाई. We made the cricket board run in every direction. Who spent the money? I did. My own personal money. Nobody gave me the money. I did. I won in Supreme Court. It was the biggest election you would see there were 500 media people outside Supreme Court. My election happened. Then also, they again challenged. Supreme Court said what? We will decide the matter on merits later. We seal private vote. Voting should continue. Then what happened? They had all the money power also. Kidnapping of people takes place. You put them away in hotel, they can't come to vote. That is when paisa baji chalo. Sabko paisa khilao. Now these 32 districts, my only issue was, I will build a stadium in Rajasthan. I will get government to give us stadium and we will renovate. Cricket कभी खेली नहीं राजस्थान में. एक दिन में नहीं खेली इंटरनेशनल क्रिकेट. रणजी ट्रॉफी के लिए ग्राउंड नहीं है. आप क्रिकेट बोर्ड में हो और ट्रेजरर हो 20 साल से. क्या करा आपने क्रिकेट के लिए? कुछ नहीं किया. I gave a blueprint to the 32 members. I was part of it. And we won 31 out of 32 districts. Landslide.